There are many awesome roller coasters in the world, and there are many awesome parks. But there are top 10 that I want to ride the most before I die. Here are my top 10 top bucket list coasters. Number 10, the Voyager Holiday World. The Voyager is a wooden coaster that is almost the longest wooden coaster in the world. It isn't because the Beast is the longest wooden coaster in the world. This roller coaster looks like it has some very awesome airtime and some flow ejector airtime, and has a really cool location. And the lift hill actually looks pretty cool. Has some flags before you go down the drop. It looks like a pretty smooth wooden coaster, and it looks like a very good coaster for airtime, and looks like a pretty intense coaster for the Whippy transitions. And I really like the mid-course brake run and how it looks like you're about to stop the ride, but you actually go on. And it seems like you go on the ride forever. It seems like it never stops. That's the good thing about this ride. Wooden coasters have that great old classic feeling, and this one looks like it's awesome because it could be rattly, could be a little bit rough, it could be intense, could be smooth, and sometimes it makes the coaster even better. Number 9, Tatsu at Six Flags Magic Mountain. Tatsu is a B&M flyer, and the most well-known element is the pretzel loop. It's one of the biggest pretzel loops out there and one of the most intense. This roller coaster looks very intense, and since it's a flyer, you're in a different position than you would on a normal roller coaster. I really like being on flyers. I think it's a really cool position that you're in, and even this roller coaster looks pretty intense. And the cool thing about this coaster is that with most B&M flyers, which is Superman Ultimate Flight, say at Six Flags Great Adventure, Six Flags Great America, Six Flags Over Georgia, there's many old Superman Ultimate Flights. The pretzel loop is right after the first drop, but not with Tatsu. Right after the first drop, you go down little zero-G rolls, and you just turn a couple times. And then you get imitated by this big, huge pretzel loop coming right for your face. Then you go down it, and you get some of the most G-forces you can ever experience on a flyer. This roller coaster looks intense, fun, and definitely a must-do when you go to Six Flags Magic Mountain. Number 8, Dr. Diabolical's Cliffhanger at Six Flags Fiesta, Texas. This is a dive coaster and has one of the steepest drops on a dive coaster. This is one of the newest dive coasters. It opened in 2022, and that is the newest dive coaster. This coaster looks really fun, and just looks like a really fun dive coaster. You might be surprised I put Dr. Diabolical's Cliffhanger on here, but it just looks like a really fun coaster, and that's what coasters are all about for me. Fun is the main factor, and of course, airtime. But this coaster looks really fun, the inversions look fun, the drop looks fun, and I really like the onboard audio of it really trying to tell you to scream. I mean, you can hear it right now. Yeah, it really wants you to scream. But it looks like a really fun ride, and I think it's definitely a must-do when you go to Six Flags Fiesta, Texas. Fiesta, Texas looks like a great Six Flags park, and Dr. Diabolical's Cliffhanger is definitely a great addition for this park. Number 7, Raptor at Cedar Point. You might be wondering why I have this on here, because it's just a normal inverted coaster, and yes, I have been to Cedar Point, but the time that I went, Raptor was closed, and it was closed for the days that I was there. I only went there for one day, but each day, even when I was at the hotel, it was closed, so I didn't get to ride it, unfortunately. It looks like a very intense invert, and it has a pretty cool cobra roll that you don't see in a lot of invert coasters. So I'm pretty excited when I go back to Cedar Point, and I'm hoping that it's open so I get to ride the sponsor. This coaster looks really fun, and it has that classic roar just to make it even more intimidating. I love the green color on this coaster. I think it definitely matches what the ride's name is, and I think that it just looks like a really intense and fun roller coaster. Inverted coasters are one of my most favorite B&M type, so this roller coaster is definitely on my top tier list that I want to ride. So this is definitely a must-do when you go to Cedar Point, if it's open. Right now it's open. Speaking of inverted coasters, my number 6 spot is Monsu at Busch Gardens, Tampa. This roller coaster looks very intense and fun. The inversions look pretty intense and whippy. This roller coaster gets named for one of the most intense inverted coasters, and I like intense inverted coasters. The only inverted coasters that I've ridden are Talon at Dorney Park and Batman the Ride at Six Flags Great Adventure. I was gonna ride Raptor, but like I said earlier, it was closed unfortunately when I went. But this ride looks really fun, and I really hope I get to ride it someday because it looks pretty intense, and I like intense coasters, and the inversions look fun, and it looks like a pretty smooth inverted coasters, because most inverted coasters definitely have that B&M rattle, but that just makes it even more intense and fun. I feel like every inverted coaster that I've ridden has been intense, fun, and whippy, so I really hope I get to ride this coaster one day. Number 5, Raging Bull at Six Flags Great America. Raging Bull is a B&M hyper, and it has a pretty unique drop. it has a double down, which means that you get to the top and it looks like you're about to go right down the drop, but you actually go forward and you go straight and then you go down the drop. Just imagine how that would be in the back row. There's another B&M Hyper that's like this, and that's Apollo's Chariot, Busch Gardens Williamsburg. It has that push down too. This roller coaster looks really fun, and I think that looks pretty whippy, especially the drop, but also after that, it's a pretty graceful and looks like a fun ride. Yes, the pacing is pretty good, not the best of B&M Hypers, but it still looks like a really fun ride, and you guys know that I love B&M Hypers, and I think that this is definitely one of the most rides that I would want to ride at Great America. This is definitely a must-do ride if I ever go to Great America. This is a coaster that I would definitely want to ride, and I really hope I do one day. Number 4, Fury 325 at Carowinds. Fury 325 is a Giga Coaster by B&M, and one thing I want to say about B&M with their Giga Coasters, their B&M Hypers, anything with their B&M Hypers or Giga Coasters, the restraints are awesome. They're very comfortable, and you have a lot of room with them. Anyways, back with Fury 325. This roller coaster has the tallest lift hill of any coaster in the world. It is the 5th tallest roller coaster in the world, and it's the 4th tallest roller coaster in the US. This roller coaster looks really, really fun, and I have ridden the tallest roller coaster in the world, and that is with a launch, and that one's pretty fun too, so this one could be even more fun. I'm really excited if I ever get to ride this. It is in North Carolina, and my home park is Six Flags Great Adventure, so I really hope I get to ride it one day, but it looks like it has some awesome elements, it's fast, looks like I have some awesome airtime, and I really hope I get to ride it one day. Number 3, Mystic Timbers at Kings Island. I will probably ride this ride just because since we went to Cedar Point, we're probably gonna go to Kings Island soon. Maybe not this summer, but maybe the next one. This roller coaster looks really, really fun, and it's a wooden coaster by GCI, and GCIs are always fun. Always have some great airtime. And this roller coaster looks like it has some awesome airtime, and I'm very excited to get to ride this if I do. This roller coaster looks whippy, has airtime, has laterals, has G-forces. It looks like it is one of the best coasters at Kings Island, and it could be better than Orion. I don't know. I would have to go out to Kings Island and ride it. But this roller coaster looks really, really fun, and I'm really excited if I get to ride this one day. And this is definitely one of my top 10 bucket list coasters because it looks so fun, so whippy, great airtime, and one of the best coasters at Kings Island and maybe even in the world. We have made it to our top 2 bucket list coasters. I also want to thank you guys very much for 200 subscribers. This is a 200 subscriber special. I know I'm doing it kind of late because I have 248 subscribers now, but anyways, I really just want to thank you guys for 200 subscribers. It really means a lot to me, and let's get to 300 and maybe 1,000. Number 2, Iron Gwazi at Busch Gardens Tampa. Iron Gwazi is a new for 2022 RMC hybrid, and since it was built in 2022, it has some great airtime, great whippiness, great laterals, and has some pretty high G-forces. This roller coaster looks really, really fun and has some great airtime. It looks like it has lots and lots of airtime. And it just looks like it has some great inversions and laterals and airtime, and the drop is pretty steep. It looks like it's such a fun coaster, and it's definitely one of the best coasters that I would want to ride. And since at Busch Gardens Tampa, it's in Florida, so just like the next one. So that is your clue for my number one bucket list coaster. This coaster looks really fun, and I really hope I get to ride it one day, because RMC is one of the best companies out there. We have made it to my number 1 bucket list coaster. Again, I want to thank you guys for 200 subscribers, and because it means a lot to me. Number 1, Velocicoaster at Islands of Adventure in Florida. This roller coaster is very hyped up, and I can understand why. The Morosaurus roll looks so cool, and right over the water, it is one of the best elements on a roller coaster. And that top hat looks like it has some great ejector airtime, and the launch. This roller coaster has everything you want in a roller coaster, and it's even at a really good park where the Hulk is. There's Hagrid's Magical Adventure. There is some great coasters there, and this is definitely one of the best ones, and it could be the best one. This roller coaster is definitely on everybody's top 10 list, top 20 list, and top 100 list. This roller coaster just looks awesome, and if I ever get to ride it one day, I would love to ride this and lap it as many times as I can, because this roller coaster looks so fun, whippy, intense, airtime, laterals, G-forces. Just looks like so many elements on a roller coaster, and the most hyped element on that is the Morosaurus roll, right over the water, which looks like an awesome element. And it looks like just a fun roller coaster, and I really would love to ride it one day. So that is my top 10 bucket list coasters. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye guys!